Okay, we are starting here with our next topic, that is particles. These particles these particles which are having masses m1, m2, m3, likewise mn, these are at a distance of r1, r2, r3 up to rn from axis of rotation. So what we considered here, the rigid body which is made up of large number of particles of masses m1, m2 up to mn, and these particles are at the distances r1, r2 up to distances rn from axis of rotation. Okay. So what we consider, this rigid body is rotating with constant speed of rotation, that is omega, but the linear velocities of all the particles here will be different because particles are at different positions. Okay, but angular velocity will be same. Okay, so we already know the relation here between linear velocity and between linear velocity and 1. The relation is commonly v equal to r omega. For first particle, if you are writing which is having mass m1, so velocity will be v1 equal to r1 omega. Okay, this is for first particle which is having mass m1. So if you are writing kinetic energy here, the kinetic energy of particle of mass m1 is, suppose we are writing kinetic energy 1, which is equal to 1 by 2, that is half m1 v1 square. That is common formula, we already know. You can put the value of v1 here. So as this is v1 square, this will be r1 square omega square. So kinetic energy for first particle will become 1 upon 2 m1 r1 square omega square. This is the kinetic energy for the first particle which is having mass m1, which is at a distance of r1 from axis of rotation. Okay. Similarly, seeing this expression, you can write kinetic energy of all the particles. Suppose we are writing kinetic energy of particle having mass m2, we can write it as kinetic energy suffix 2, which is equal to 1 by 2 m2 r2 square omega square. Okay. Similarly, for the last particle, if we consider, that is for nth particle, suppose mass is mn, so kinetic energy is here, kinetic energy suffix n equal to 1 by 2 mn rn square omega square. As you already, okay, as we are writing here kinetic energy of particles differently, that is separately, if you want to determine total kinetic energy of a rigid body, okay, so that you can write it as sum of all the kinetic energy of individual particles. So what you can write here, kinetic energy will be equal to kinetic energy of first particle plus kinetic energy of second particle, likewise kinetic energy of last particle, that is nth particle. So we can add all the kinetic energies. Okay, so for first particle we are writing half m1 r1 square omega square. For second particle we are writing half m2 r2 square omega square plus up to, for the last particle we can write 1 by 2 mn rn square omega square. If you are adding all these expressions, we can get here 1 by 2 omega square is common. Remaining here is m1 r1 square. From this side it will be m2 r2 square plus up to here it will be mn rn square. And this, all this term in the bracket, if you consider this is nothing but summation, you can generalize the equation, that is as summation mi ri square, where I takes value from 1 to n. Okay, that is, suppose you are putting I value as 1, you are getting the expression m1 r1 square. If you are putting the value I equal to 2, you will be getting the expression m2 r2 square. As you are writing summation, means you will add all the values. In between you will write plus sign. Similarly, for the last particle, I value will be n, so you will be writing mn rn square. So this bracket is actually compacted form. That is, compacted form will be summation I equal to 1 to n mi r square. And this you already know, this is nothing but, in previous lecture we already discussed, this is nothing but moment of inertia, which is denoted by capital I. I omega square. Okay, so this kinetic energy of rotating body is nothing but half I omega square. What are terms here? So kinetic energy is depending upon moment of inertia of the rotating body, that is I, and omega is angular velocity. Okay, similarly, if you are writing kinetic energy for linear motion, we are writing it as half mv square. So if we are comparing both the kinetic energy, that is kinetic energy of linear motion, kinetic energy of rotational motion, so you can compare 1 by 2, 1 by 2 here. V square, that is linear velocity, is comparable with the angular velocity here. Similarly, mass is comparable with the moment of inertia. That is nothing but physical significance of moment of inertia. We already discussed there. We discussed taking expression F equal to ma and tau equal to I alpha. So you can write same physical significance using these two expression as I told you earlier. Okay, so if you're comparing here both the expression, you're getting your conclusion that moment of inertia in rotational motion plays the same role as that of mass does in linear motion. Okay, so this is all about kinetic energy of a rotating body. Okay, now here there are different applications of moment of inertia. That is, we can determine different expressions for different objects. Okay, so if you are determining moment of inertia of a uniform ring, so we considered a uniform ring having mass capital M, radius capital R. The ring is rotating about an axis which is passing through its center and perpendicular to its plane. It is rotating in anti-clockwise direction. If we consider the ring is very thin here, we will neglect the thickness here. So if you are writing the expression, we already know the definition of moment of inertia. According to the definition, we already know I will be equal to mass into square of the distance from axis of rotation. As the ring is uniform, means distance from axis of rotation will be constant everywhere here. So you can write your expression I equal to mass will be capital M, radius here will be R, so square of radius will be R square. So your final expression for the moment of inertia of a uniform ring when axis is passing through its center and perpendicular to its plane will be I equal to mr square. Okay, you can directly apply the definition of moment of inertia. Okay, second application, if we consider moment of inertia of a uniform disk. What do you mean by uniform disk? Means you will consider mass per unit area of the disk is constant or same throughout. So we are calling it as uniform disk. Okay, so the disk is actually two-dimensional circular object. We will neglect again the thickness of the disk. So as we consider uniform disk, we will consider mass per unit area, and that quantity we are here denoting by sigma. Okay, axis of rotation of the disk is passing through the center and perpendicular to the plane of the disk. Okay, so next, if you are defining mass per unit area, that is sigma, that is known as surface density. So surface density that is mass per unit area, sigma will be equal to mass upon area. Suppose we consider mass here is m, area is a, this is known as surface density. So sigma, as we consider here disk having total mass capital M, radius of the disk is capital R, so we can write sigma equal to m upon, as it is circular, area will be pi r square. So sigma surface density here will be m upon pi r square. What next here? Suppose we consider this disk is made up of large number of concentric rings. Okay, so we are dividing this disk in terms of number of concentric rings. So all these rings will be actually having radius from 0 to capital R. That is, the range will be from 0 to capital R. One of such concentric rings, suppose we consider at a distance small r with the thickness dr and with the mass dm. Okay, if we consider one of such small concentric ring here, and if you are applying different formulas, for example, if I am writing area of that concentric ring, that will be circumference, as we already know, will be 2 pi r. Small r we will consider, thickness is dr, so it will be 2 pi r dr. So sigma surface density for that concentric ring here will be mass upon surface area or area, so dm upon 2 pi r dr. So dm will be equal to sigma 2 pi r dr. Okay, we will multiply denominator this side, so dm will be equal to sigma 2 pi r dr. Now we already know moment of inertia is nothing but product of mass and square of the distance. So if you are applying the definition of moment of inertia, suppose I am writing moment of inertia as IR for this concentric ring, so IR will be equal to dm r square. So this is the nothing but moment of inertia is of this concentric ring which is at a distance small r from axis of rotation. So there are large number of concentric rings we can consider here, and range of the radius will be from 0 to capital R. So if we consider all that rings together, we can determine moment of inertia of disk. So how we will do here? We can integrate this value. So capital I, that is total moment of inertia of the whole disk, I will be equal to integration of IR, which is from 0 to R. So IR is nothing but this term, so we are putting here dm r square. 0 to R again, dm value we already know, dm is nothing but sigma 2 pi r dr. So I am putting value here, instead of dm I am writing 2 pi sigma r dr into r square. What you will do, you will take constant out and you will integrate for variable here. So 2 pi sigma we are taking out, and I am here, this r into r square will be r cube, so r cube into dr. This small r is variable here that ranges from 0 to capital R. So 2 pi sigma as it is. We already know the integration formula, general formula. Suppose you are taking integration x cube dx, so it will be x equal to x 3 plus 1 divided by 3 plus 1, x raised to 3 plus 1 divided by 3 plus 1. So applying the integration formula for integral, we can write here power will be, directly we are writing here, so power will be plus 1, so it will become r raised to 4 divided by 4. Range of integration will be from, if we are putting upper and lower limit, we will put here lower limit 0 and upper limit here capital R. Okay, so upper limit we are putting first, so we are getting r raised to 4 by r, minus lower limit, as lower limit is 0, so total term will become 0. So I am not writing that second term, I am writing only first term, that is for upper limit. So directly I can write here r raised to 4 divided by 4. Okay, you can cancel here some terms, so we can write here expression as this 2 and 4 you can cancel, so you will be getting 4 here. Similarly here, instead of this sigma you can write your expression, an expression if you are writing, that is for total disk sigma surface density will be m upon pi r square, as we already defined earlier. Okay, so 2 pi as it is here, instead of sigma I am writing m upon pi r square, r raised to 4 upon 4 I am writing same here, so you can cancel pi and pi, 2 and 4 you can cancel, r square and r raised to 4 you can cancel. So finally we are getting the term 1 by 2 mr square. This is nothing but total moment of inertia of uniform disk when it is rotating about an axis which is passing through its center and perpendicular to its plane. So this is the derivation given, which can be asked for 3 marks. Next topic here is radius of gyration. So radius of gyration is actually nothing but related to moment of inertia. Okay. So suppose here is the definition. Suppose is asked to you, that will be for 1 marks obviously. So definition here is the distance between axis of rotation and the point at which the entire mass of the body can be supposed to be concentrated so as to give the same moment of inertia as that of body. So this is known as radius of gyration. What is this definition is about? If you are not getting, you can consider, suppose I consider a uniform disc. This disc is having mass capital M. This disc is having radius capital R. And moment of inertia is suppose capital I. Okay, what next here? Suppose I replace this disc by a point mass. Okay, suppose I replace this disc by a point mass. What do you mean by point mass? That mass will be actually a very small particle, but this, suppose I replace this disc by a point mass having same mass as that of disc, means this point mass will be having mass capital M. Suppose I want to maintain moment of inertia same, that is capital I, as that of the disc. What I have to do, I have to maintain the distance between axis of rotation and this point mass, so that this I value, that is the product of mass and square of the distance from axis of rotation, will remain same as that of the disc. So what I will do, I will keep this point mass as the proper distance, so that product capital M and R square will be same as that of the disc. So that is, I want to maintain the value moment of inertia same here. So I will put here at some particular distance to this point mass, and that distance will be nothing but radius of gyration. Okay, means what we are doing here, when you are defining radius of gyration of any body or object which is rotating, so moment of inertia about any given axis of rotation is defined as the distance between the axis of rotation and the point at which whole mass of the body is supposed to be concentrated. That is, this point is nothing but center of mass, we already know. The point at which we consider mass is supposed to be concentrated, that is known as center of mass. So the distance between axis of rotation and center of mass is nothing but radius of gyration. But what is the condition we have to maintain? So as to possess same moment of inertia as that of the body. Okay, means that point mass, if you are replacing that whole object by a point mass, the moment of inertia should remain same. So that distance, as we discussed here, that distance is nothing but, suppose we consider K, notation is K, so that is known as radius of gyration. Okay, so what we consider here, first of all you will remember the definition. What is the definition here? Moment of inertia of any rotating body about the given axis of rotation is defined as the distance between axis of rotation and the point at which whole mass of the body is supposed to be concentrated, so as to possess same moment of inertia as that of the body. Okay, this is the definition. You have to remember this definition as it is, can be asked here for 1 marks. Next, suppose for the consideration, for your understanding, if we consider example, we consider suppose a uniform disc having mass capital M, having radius capital R, and having moment of inertia capital I. What I did here next, suppose I am replacing this uniform disc by a point mass which is having same mass capital M. So suppose I want to maintain the moment of inertia capital I as it is as that of the disc, I have to place this point mass at particular distance so that this I value will be same. So that particular distance here will be nothing but radius of gyration. Okay, and this radius of gyration is always denoted by K, and the formula, if we consider that is if we consider the relation between I and K, relation is K equal to square root I by M. That is, you can write I equal to mk square, where m is mass, that is total mass, I is moment of inertia, K is radius of gyration. Okay. Now here, as this radius of gyration is nothing but the distance, so unit will be here, SI unit will be meter, CGS unit will be centimeter, and dimension will be L1. Now here, next thing here, consider here on what factor this radius of gyration depends. So this radius of gyration depends upon the shape and size of body. So next question can be asked here. What is the physical significance of radius of gyration? So this radius of gyration is nothing but denoted by K. So this radius of gyration is actually depending upon the shape and size of body. It is depending upon the distribution of mass of body about the axis of rotation, and it is also depending upon the position and orientation of axis of rotation. So if we consider small value of K, that is mass is distributed close to the axis of rotation. If we consider large value of K, that is mass is distributed at large distance from axis of rotation. Okay, so this is all about physical significance of radius of gyration. Question can be asked here for 2 marks. These points are here actually sufficient to write 2 marks answer. What you will write? Physical significance, you will write first, that is radius of gyration is depending upon the shape and size, it is depending upon the distribution of mass about axis of rotation, it is depending upon the position and orientation of axis of rotation, and then you will define these 2 points. For small value of K, mass is distributed close to the axis of rotation. For large value of K, mass is distributed at large distance from axis of rotation. Okay, so in next lecture we will discuss theorem of perpendicular and parallel axis. Thank you so much.